What's up, everyone? Alex here from Computer Headquarters. Today is our 1 year anniversary of the Artesian Builds bankruptcy auction, or winning of the Artesian Builds bankruptcy auction. So I kind of wanted to just do like a recap. I know the whole story has been out for forever now. Most people watching this video, if you're here to watch it, you're probably very familiar with the bankruptcy and all the things about that and things of that nature. But before I get into much, I just want to be very clear. This video is expressing my opinions. Um, so yeah, not looking to start any fights or beef or anything like that. I'm not trying to get lawyers mad at me. We signed, or maybe not signed, but we agreed to the bankruptcy, and I'm making this video and trying to make it in a respectful fashion and not trying to. There could be things that I would say that I'm purposely not going to say. So anyone that's here just for drama about, Artesian builds and those things, I'm not interested in getting into that in this video. So go somewhere else if that's all you're here for. But if you want to hear more about like the fun stuff for as like a gamer and that kind of thing, and as a business owner, buying a bankruptcy, like that kind of stuff, that's what we're going to go over for the most part. So let's jump into it, as people like to say. All right, so yeah, as I mentioned, 1 year anniversary. Today is July 24th, and we started posting our videos about a year ago in July. So yeah, unfortunately, you know what? Maybe I can click one of these videos and it'll give me an exact date. Let's see if it will say. No, it just says 1 year ago. So that's fine. It doesn't need to see a date. I know for a fact that it was July, and that's fine. I've got a little list of things to talk about that you guys can't see on the screen right now. But let's talk about the bankruptcy. Let's start with the actual bankruptcy. I made videos about being, bidding. I'm approved to bid. Bidding on it. I honestly, these videos right here, this one and this one, where I literally went through picture by picture the entire bankruptcy. I loved that. Like, big fan of the sleuth. What is that, right? Like the Sherlock Holmes investigating, like digging into the pictures and looking for the little things, because we had a spreadsheet and we had the pictures, and that's all we had. And I said this in a lot of my videos, but I asked the lawyer that was in charge of this bankruptcy lot auction, if I see something in the picture, does that mean I'm gonna get it? And his answer was yes. He used the example of a pen. He said, if you see a pen on a desk in one of the pictures and it's not listed on the spreadsheet, not only do you get that pen is now your property, but you are required to take it away. If you don't want that pen, then you need to dispose of it. So anything that I didn't want to keep, I needed to get rid of, basically. Or hire another person, or however you want to say that, to like get rid of it for me. So Oakland was, I guess you could say, maybe a beautiful disaster. Beautiful in the fact that there were some really fun things there if you're a gaming nerd like me. But disaster in the fact that, first of all, it's Oakland. I grew up in Northern California, in Sacramento area, and my dad is from the Bay Area. So I'm familiar with Oakland. Growing up as a kid, I went to a lot of 49er football games, and we drove through Oakland many times, and I've been around Oakland, and it's never had a very good reputation. I know there's plenty of good things about Oakland. I'm not just here to talk smack about Oakland, but the particular part of town that Artesian Builds decided to take up their business there, like that, there were people outside the door on drug induced, like crazy yell at the world things. Like, so much weird stuff was going on. People were like dealing drugs outside of the building. There were people blocking. They would just park their cars in the middle of the street and doing drugs in their car in the middle of the street. It was the weirdest thing. Like, the cops don't care about anything. It was wild, absolutely wild. Um, so we were really glad to get out of there too. But when we finally did, but yeah, it was not a great part of town. It definitely felt dangerous. If I would, I didn't feel super unsafe because I wasn't really usually there at night. But the people that were doing the bankruptcy actually told us that we weren't allowed to stay late at night. It was like against the rules of the legal stuff because of the how dangerous the area was. They didn't want anyone there, so that because I guess it got even more. We weren't really around too much at night there, but I guess it got really dangerous. They didn't want to cause or draw attention, so that was tricky. Um, so there was only one door in the building basically to get in and out. And it was not a, most warehouses have like a garage door that you could like drive cars in and out of. And, like the warehouse door I have at my warehouse I'm right now, you could literally drive a tank in and out of the warehouse. That's pretty normal. This was a 10,000 square foot building, and it had just a regular, like, think of the door on your house, just a regular cookie cutter, the basic size door. That's what there was. And that was extremely difficult because when you have 10,000 square foot worth of stuff, all those things, they needed, the typical process would be that you'd get pallets. And if you don't know what a pallet is, you can Google that. It's like, wooden platform that you can put a pallet jack into to move pallets around. And then you get something called a gaylord, which is like a giant cardboard box that fits on a pallet. And then you just not need to throw, but you put all that stuff into the gaylord. You wrap up the gaylord. The truck comes. You get your forklift or whatever. Sometimes there's a lift gate on the truck, and you put that into the truck, and the truck drives away. Well, without that door, you can't drive the pallet jack in and out, which means you can't do pallets inside the warehouse. So we'd have to build pallets in the parking lot, and then the problem was if the truck doesn't show up that day, because scheduling trucks same day is actually very difficult. So if the truck does not show up, then you have all these pallets built in a parking lot in a very dangerous area, and you would literally have to undo all of the work. Like that, think about that. Think about, the truck, maybe it's 5 p.m. and your truck, and you've been there since the whole day and you're sweaty and then blah, blah, blah. It's July. And then the truck cancels on you, doesn't show up, and you would need to undo all of that work to get it back inside so it doesn't all get stolen. So now you've got hours of work to unpack, and then you have to come back the next day and try to build that pallet again and hope that the truck shows up. It's like when you think about that, it's mind-numbing. So we made it work, but the way that it was a very difficult situation because of how much stuff there was. And so what we ended up having to do is make an agreement with the landlord, because there's the bankruptcy people, like the lawyers that are handling the bankruptcy, and they basically represent Artesian Builds. If I believe I'm saying that correctly. I'm not a lawyer, sorry, but I think I'm saying this correctly, but it's my opinion. So I think that they represent Artesian Builds, the company, and like Noah and all those people. And then there is the landlord that has the contract with Artesian Builds that is now, like, the contract's over because the company went bankrupt. He was a really nice guy, but he was really busy too, and we ended up making like a bartering deal basically. So like I gave him some really sick computers, like super, I think if I had to guess, ballpark, probably around $10,000 worth of computers for him and his family. And there was like a $5,000 conference table. It was a super sick conference table, really expensive, really high end. If you go back and you saw any of the footage and stuff, like Noah definitely had a taste for like nice stuff. So I ended up giving him the conference table, and he was willing to basically, like, we got all the stuff out of there other than, I think it was like furniture was left in there. There was some racking that was left in there, and we had someone coming to get the racking like the next week. So it all worked out, but the bankruptcy people were not happy with us because we were planning on only like being there till I think like Wednesday, and on Friday we were just like, we have to get out of here. We just mentally couldn't do it any longer, and we made that deal with the landlord. He was happy with it, and he took care of everything. So the bankruptcy people were not happy about that, but that was what we needed to do to get it done. And as long as the landlord was happy with it, then at the end of the day, they never called me back saying that they're upset about anything. So anyway, moving on. North Carolina was a trickier situation because I live in California, and from the Oakland trip, I actually got COVID. So that was really really terrible. I was super super sick, and I needed to have everything figured out at the North Carolina warehouse that next week, which was when I was planning on flying to North Carolina. Um, I do have a friend named Ted who lives in North Carolina, has his own computer shop. Ted, if you're watching this, hello. He, we've done some favors for each other over the years, and he was able to do me a favor here, and he drove down. It was, I think, about an hour and a half away from his place, and he drove down there with some of his employees and helped pack up the truck. Thank you again, Ted, for doing that. That helped out a lot when I was sick, and so there was still a lot of racking at that place, and the landlord of that location was nice enough to let me leave a lot of that stuff and just charge me rent. Um, so that was cool, and um, it got messy with that though too. I feel like everything that was involved with this bankruptcy got messy. Like I told you, that the landlord in Oakland, really nice guy, but I had to like give him all this stuff, and getting the things in and out was almost impossible. And also the timeline that the bankruptcy court gave us was almost impossible to work with as well. Because I won't get into that, but this landlord at the North Carolina thing, he got put in a terrible situation. Basically, he wasn't the landlord of Artesian Builds. He was the neighbor and friend of the landlord for Artesian Builds, and that the real landlord asked this guy to move all of the stuff into his warehouse temporarily until it got picked up for the auction. But it sounds like the story that was told to him was like, the timeline that he gave this other guy was a lot smaller than what actually ended up being the truth. So this guy his whole warehouse was filled with all this Artesian Build stuff for months. And in my understanding is he didn't get paid anything by that guy who asked for the favor. So when we were done moving everything, we still had more stuff, and he said that I could keep it there and pay this monthly fee, like basically rent some storage space from him while I needed more space. Now, let me see if I can pull up the video proof. This video right here. Yeah. So, oh, let's see. Ads. Come on, ads. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. Come on. There we go. All right. So this was me when I got back, and I think I actually just got back and I wasn't sick yet. I think that literally that maybe this day at night I started feeling really sick, or it was the next day, but I was like walking around the warehouse just showing proof that we won the auction, and the warehouse looked like a bomb went off in there. Like not in like an exploded way, but just so messy and crazy. There was just so much stuff. Every corner of the warehouse was overflowing. Let's see if I can go to like an aisleway. Yeah, I think this was the back by our gate. It was just completely full, and then sorry, I'm trying to wait for an angle where you can see down an aisleway. I'm showing like water bottles. I'm sorry, I'm doing such a bad job right now. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Like this was our shelves were all just filled to the brim. Our aisleways were all completely full. It was madness. It was madness. So this guy in North Carolina, he was holding the stuff and we were trying to move out of this warehouse into a new warehouse. So should have all worked together really well. We're moving into a much bigger location, and this other guy we're paying him some rent so he could hold the stuff. And then when we move, we'll ship it all when we have the space. And he was really nice about it. It all seemed fine. He was actually it was mostly all storage stuff. It was like racking and stuff that he had there, and he was using it. But when it came time when we actually moved, he got really difficult. He really wanted to keep the racks, and the racks were worth a lot of money. And I had to explain to him, like, here's how much these racks cost. The absolute cheapest price you could find them anywhere was like, I think maybe it was 150 or $200 per rack. And to me, they're actually worth more than that because they were already built. You had to build these racks. So it's like an hour of work per rack. And if you think about how much you're paying an employee, now the racks just became a lot more expensive. And so I was just explaining, like, he was trying to get them for pennies on the dollar from me, and I was like, no, I want them. I want the racks. They're like 20 of them or something, so it was a lot of money. So he started getting really mad at me, and he started getting harder to get a hold of, and I felt like I was just super friendly with him the whole time, but I think that there were other things going on in his life, and I don't know. I'm sure he wouldn't be watching this video, but I'd still like to thank him for the whole thing, and I feel bad that he got stuck in that situation. I wish things would have been nicer at the end, because he did some things at the end that I'm not going to say on here, but I wasn't very happy about the things he did. They were unethical. So, and Ted helped me again move all this stuff. So I think he went there 2 times. So thanks again, Ted. That was the second time I'll thank you here. You deserve being thanked for that. So next up, similar to North Carolina situation, there was I really wish that I would have been able to film the process at Oakland. It would have been such a good YouTube video. It would have been great YouTube content. And I did reach out to a variety of like main YouTubers, like Blindness and Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 Cents. And I'm trying to think, I feel like I messaged a bunch of people, and unfortunately, after I had scheduled with one of those people to come with us to Oakland so they could film, bad news was that the legal people involved in the bankruptcy absolutely flipped out on me and told me the cops would be there, and I had already paid. It was like, I think $150,000. So that I didn't bring that up yet. It was something in the ballpark of $150,000 of my money, the company's money, which is my money, that I put up for this, and that was a huge amount of money for me. I'm not a big business, so coming up with that was not easy, and it was a risk. So I was basically told that if people were there from the media, that I would be jeopardizing the entire deal, and they already had my money. It was wired to them. I couldn't get it back if it would have needed to go into legal thing, and they wouldn't have let us in the door. My company would be at risk for missing all that money. We would have a hard time operating without that money, right? So the one person though that was able to come out, but not at Oakland, but at my own warehouse, once we moved everything, actually like here, like one of the days after the warehouse was completely filled to the brim, was Christopher Yee. He came out. He was an awesome dude. He filmed. He had a cameraman with him. He never put the video up, which I'm not sure why, but I've been, every once in a while, I look at his channel and it looks like he's just not too into YouTube anymore. So that's fine. He just, that's his thing, but he was such a nice guy. He actually bought a decent amount of things that were from the Artesian builds bankruptcy from me. And yeah, so that was all good. Now let's see, next thing up, the PCs that we got from the bankruptcy, they sold well. They sold a lot better than what I had expected. We mostly sell refurbished equipment at computer headquarters. That's what our traditional thing started from, factory refurbished stuff. We have great relationships with companies like Asus and MSI and Gigabyte. But almost every company you could think of in the industry that manufactures, video cards and motherboards and stuff like that. We have a good relationship. So a lot of this equipment out of this was brand new parts, and we weren't sure how well they would sell, and they sold great. So I was really happy with that. I think we sold somewhere in the ballpark of 175 computers over time that came from the bankruptcy. And I would say profit-wise, we ended up doing really well. And I think we made good profit on the whole thing, and we were able to sell these computers at a very aggressive price, so that the customers were getting hooked up and we were getting our money back and then some. So I'm really happy about how all of that worked out. It was a ton of work, of course. A lot of the computers that we got from them were incomplete. So missing a motherboard, or like a problem like the video card wasn't working, or the CPU wasn't working, or the fans were never wired properly. Like a lot of them were in progress or had a bad part. So we would, say the motherboard was bad, we would just get another motherboard. We build computers here, so we just went back through them all, got them all fixed up, put them back up for sale, and we actually barely got any returns at all from the computers that we did sell. Like the RMA rate was incredibly low. I actually can't even remember one. Oh, sorry, I can remember one that did come back, because we're making a whole YouTube video about that one still. We still have the computer, and we're keeping that one. So, okay, covered that. PC sold well, happy with it. Um, I want to bring up another topic that's came up a lot after the auction. There was so much drama in news about people getting um, taken advantage of, and whatever, the bad negative stuff about Artesian builds on their way out. That there were all these people that were like, what about the people that lost their money and paid for their computer and never got it? So that was a really hot topic, and I covered it in as many videos as I could, and I always try to keep reiterating it so everyone knows. We literally contacted every single person that we found a computer for them. Like if there was a computer of those, I said there's about 175 computers. The computers that were actually ordered by a customer and we had the paperwork with the computer, we emailed and called literally every single one of them, and only one person said that they never got their money back and that they had ordered a computer. One person. So that one person unfortunately paid with something called Cash App. And when you pay with Cash App, you have no refund type of thing available to you. And so we tried to work out a refund type of thing with that customer. And he was actually, I don't want to say who he was. He was kind of like, he didn't want to take us up on it. I guess, I think he was doing pretty well financially or something, and just kind of felt like it wasn't his place to, since he used Cash App, he didn't think it was my responsibility to refund him, even though I offered him something. But what we did work out was an incredible discount on a computer for him, so that he paid X amount of money for the overpriced Artesian Builds computer, and then we sold it to him so cheap that even though he paid twice, he still got like a good deal, if that makes sense. So that was the only way I could convince him to kind of let me give him a refund, if that makes sense. So let's see. We also, I'm reading my notes here. Yeah, there were a couple customers that said that they got their money back and still wanted the computer, or they got their money back and they wanted a computer but maybe not the same one. So we sold all those people computers at like a mega discount as well, to kind of say like, even though it wasn't our business that made the mistake, it was a bad situation for them, and like we just want it, because we're PC people, we're gamers. Everyone that works here, it's my company, and I have I don't know what you can call it. Like, I want to keep the industry on the up and up, and the whole, I want someone that's a gamer not to get like disgruntled with the gaming community and gaming in general. So I was just trying to, if I could offer them help there to try to keep their attitude more positive about the whole community, like that's what I was trying to do. Sorry for wording that weird, but so we got a couple people that got some mega awesome deals. Man, there was one streamer that we helped out. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he wanted a little tiny computer to bring to LAN events, and his computer was a ton of work, way above what we normally would do, and his computer came out awesome. That's a terrible story because I don't have pictures for you, but it's not a big deal. Let's keep moving on here. So let's go over some highlights. I just quickly grabbed some highlights. So let's see. We got 2 win bots, these cases. This is the in-win win bot. We found 2 of them. This was not on the spreadsheet. They were hiding behind a bunch of boxes. These are insanely rare. They come in like a wooden box, like a pallet basically for each one. We put one up for sale at $9,999.99, so basically $10,000, right? We put one of them up for sale at that price, and the other one I said I will never sell. It's mine. I'm going to keep it forever. And the one that we put up for sale did sell for $10,000 pretty quickly. I mean, honestly, I think we probably could have put it up for $20,000, and someone probably still would have bought it. But I thought $10,000, considering how rare it was a fair price. They'll never be built again. They're 5 years old now, right? So, piece of history, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know how much they cost when they were new, but I think it would have been less than $10,000. But that's the way the world works. On the flip side, we got 40 plus. I think it was 43 maybe total EVGA SR3 Dark motherboards. I actually have one right there. in the box. 43 brand new, extremely rare motherboard. It's this one right here. Has a built-in water block. All the cabling goes on the right-hand side, 24-pin and the 8-pins. Amazing, beautiful, beautiful. One of the highest quality motherboards you'll ever see in your life. Extremely rare. Unfortunately, the CPUs that work with the socket, they're not very desirable. The performance of them these days is pretty bad, but as far as a collectible goes, it doesn't get much better than this. So I'm super stoked to have found those. And unlike the WinBot, which we put up for a much higher price because, in my opinion, that's what the market said it was worth, we put these at a much lower price. The original MSRP on these, I want to say, was $1,800. And I think we're actually selling them right now at a huge discount, around $500. And I put this in whatever video. We sell some of them on our website right now, saying that they're on eBay and our website, saying that they're refurbished, but they're actually brand new. We're just trying to sell more units. So if you want to get a better price for a brand new one, just buy the refurb one and you'll get a brand new one. Next up, we got one of these motherboards here, a Z690 Aorus Extreme Water Force. These are like $1,500. Very rare, very hard to find. Built-in integrated water block with an OLED that shows your temperatures and stuff. There's a whole story behind this because this came inside of a build. It was already inside of a computer that was about 80% finished with a really rare video card as well, and it was top of the line everything. And this computer, we ended up fixing everything to make it 100%. Put it up for sale, I think, at $5,000, which was a really good price considering how much the parts were worth alone. And it sold, and unfortunately it got damaged during shipping, came back, and we are no longer ever going to sell that computer. We're making a YouTube video, actually. We're having a whole series of build videos coming out. Probably like the build series are going to be something like 30 videos of individual builds, and this motherboard will be featured in one of those videos. And I think we're at the time of me recording this, we're already done with that video. We're working on other videos right now. So next up, and sorry, I should mention, we'll have the whole build video that features the SR3 Dark. We are going to have a whole build video with the WinBot. These are all different videos with different parts, different builds. And then we got one ROG Maximus Z690 Extreme Glacial, another $1,500-ish motherboard. And we will be using that one also in a video. And I think we may have got like 2 or 3 of these motherboards. So that was pretty exciting. But I think maybe the other 2 were new. I'd have to go look. But we had one that was used. You could tell they were about to put it into a build. So we're going to be using that for a build video. Next up, we got the Aeon Mira 9 laser. This is a engraver and cutter, very expensive. It's about $10,000. We've never even tried using it. We didn't have the proper electrical connection in our warehouse that we moved into about 6 months ago, and we finally got the electrician. There's a whole story with that, but the bottom line is we now have the electricity that we needed for this, and it's ready to go. We just need one of my employees needs to spend the time to connect everything and get it all working and start learning how to use it. So hopefully we will be doing some custom laser etching soon with this machine. I'm excited for that. We also got a Shape Oco Pro XXL CNC router. This is for like cutting special wood designs and stuff. This is not, we're not a big woodworking type of company, and Artesian Builds definitely was. So I'm not quite as excited to learn how to use this, but it would be good to get it configured and ready to go for something, I suppose. And that was, these were worth about $3,000. So we got one of those for cheap. That was fun. We got one of these cases. It's the ROG Eye of Faith, and these are like a custom order from China type deal. Very rare, unusual. This one, now that I'm looking at it, this must be a new version because I don't think ours has this integrated block distro plate thing. So, but we will have a whole video about this. I suppose we'll probably make a video about these 2 things if we learn how to use them. That'd be fun to do. And then, but next up I think we got 3 total DistroCase 350p. One of them was a little bit damaged and we're gonna do a build in that as well. So you'll see a video about that. And then finally, of course, there's way more things to talk about, but the video would go on for an hour. But this is finally just like a picture I grabbed of the Star Wars Death Star PC. It was actually a fire pit that Artesian Builds had turned into a computer. We just have this stored up in the rafters right now. We took all the parts out of it, but it does have a custom center plate that can mount a motherboard. So maybe one day we'll build a PC out of this, but at the moment we don't really have a good space for where it would live. So yeah, just sitting up on a shelf in the warehouse on the top of a rack, like 20 feet up in the air. So, all right, moving on. Those are just some highlights, and the next thing I'm just going to I called it the gift that keeps on giving. Artesian Builds Bankruptcy has just been, there's so much stuff that we had from them, is basically two 10,000 square foot warehouses of stuff. And a lot of it, the PCs, the parts sold a long time ago, out of the door. It's been gone. But there's so much other stuff that has just lingered, and it's fine. So we have, 24 pin sleeved extension cables and 8 pin, sleeved extension cables in general. We have even like this video they show right here. Sorry, I'm waiting for it again to come through. It's like the sleeved AIO RGB cable thing. I didn't realize this little clip is so long. Waiting for it still. Wow, this clip goes forever. Sorry, guys. I thought they were about to show it. Oh my gosh. Sorry. This clip is way longer than I thought it was. I've seen it in the background like 3 times. There, right. Okay, that. So those sleeved RGB AIO cover things, we have like hundreds of them. I think we threw a bunch of them away because we had too many. So we have those 24 pin stuff galore. The streamer cables that are RGB cables, we have, 100 sets of them that we put in the builds here and there, but we need to use them more. We have sound panels, unlimited. We got so many desks. We got pallet jacks from them. We got storage shelves and racks. I'm trying to think of there's RGB controllers everywhere, fans everywhere. We threw a lot of fans away. We just didn't want to just standard black fans. We threw so many of those away. We just couldn't store them all. It was just so many things, and it's like I feel like every day we find something. Oh yeah, we need such and such. Oh yeah, we have that from in a box in the corner of miscellaneous parts that we got from Artesian Builds. So it's actually been really nice having all those little knick-knacky parts, things that we didn't actually spend any money on, and they're free to us, and we can just, like, hey, that build, if only we had a little bit of an accent color in that build, it would really pop. Oh, we've got, orange, black, and gray sleeve cables. They're beautiful. We'll put them in the build, and it'll look sick. So we just throw them in here and there, stuff like that. Okay, next topic I want to bring up is what I really liked about Artesian Builds and what's been good for us is the style. I'm not saying that they invented this style, but they really pushed it. And the style is the like 9 QL fans. Let's see if I can get a quick picture. I forgot to get a picture of this. Let's do 011 dynamic and maybe even Artesian Builds. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, so something like this. 9 or 10. This is a mini, but 9 or 10 fans that are RGB, and so you've got the whole top is RGB, whole bottom, the whole back, and you can put one in the back. Sometimes they put an LCD screen back there, custom LCD screen. But this style, I feel like, sure, it wasn't just their idea, but they really pushed it, and that was kind of their bread and butter. And, doing something wild like that, and then with a really high-end AIO, a lot of the time they'd use the Ryujin with the screen on it, a lot of the Corsairs with the screen on it, the NZXT with the screen, stuff like that. Sometimes the LCD panel in the back, just kind of going all out. And it seemed like a lot of their customers were just going crazy for that. The customers really liked it. And so we had, I think, 300 QL series fans that we got from them and over 100 011 dynamic cases, and we built all of them. We've built and sold all of those parts in our own builds, and they've sold great. So I really am thankful for them showing us that the customers want that, because I honestly wouldn't have thought that there were enough people that were willing to pay those top prices, because most of our customers are, I'm used to those, our regular customers who want like the cheapest, they're just price sensitive. They only want the cheapest. And now we're selling a lot of builds that are like 13900K with a 4090 and an 011 with 9 fans. So we're selling a lot of that and it's doing really well. And so I'm thankful that I learned that from the bankruptcy. All right, almost done with this video. Only a couple little bullet points to touch on. I want to address the state of the industry, the PC industry. So let me show you guys something. Just quick example. So pulling up a calculator right here. Yeah. So calculator. Let's just say, so when Artesian Builds went bankrupt, the prices of computer hardware were through the roof, all-time highs. Mining was still going strong, and at the bankruptcy they were coming down, and they've continued to go down since. So if you're a PC building company like Artesian Builds or any of their competitors, it could be iBuyPower, NZXT, CyberPower PC, just the big guys, Alienware and HP Omen, and everyone, Acer. And you look at what you were selling your computers for, let's say 2 years ago. Let's think of a $2,000 computer would have been like 3070. It'd be like an i7 and a 3070 was a $2,000 computer. And between then and now, not just exactly those exact parts, but their replacements even. So a 4070, or if it was a 3090 back then, now it's a 4090. Basically everything is halved, especially like RAM and SSDs. A 1 terabyte SSD was like $130, I would say, 2 years ago, and now they're $35. It's nuts. 32 gigs of DDR5 was over $300. It's $75 now for a really good price. It's still $100 is pretty normal too, but I mean, we're talking a third. So a lot of these prices went way down. So let's just say that you're you're a PC building company, and by the way, customers lined up out the door. We had a company call us that said, a big company that said that they had so many orders that they were backlogged for like 3 months, and they were calling different companies to see if they could get help to build faster so they could fulfill the orders. They had, I think it was like 5,000 PCs back ordered. I'm not going to say who the company was. Think about this. These computers were selling for like $2,000 each plus, and they had 5,000 back orders. So like 2,000 PCs, $2,000, 5,000 PCs, $10 million in sales. And the margins were huge on these PCs at the time. They're probably making, $500 a PC. So let's do that too. 500 times 5,000. $2.5 million of profit. That's crazy. Unfortunately, that whole idea of like customers lined up out the door, back orders forever, the prices went down and the back orders went down too. So that same company who probably had to adapt, hire more people, get a bigger warehouse, do all of this stuff so they could chase that $2.5 million in profit, that $10 million in sales. They did all that. They spent all that money. They invested all that money so they could try to keep up, assuming that would stay there. And think about this now. The same computer that was selling for $2,000 is probably selling for about $1,000 now. Half price. So you have to sell twice as many computers, quantity-wise, to have that same revenue level. That is very difficult because not only have the prices gone in half, the orders have probably gone in half too. So that same person now is going to sell that same computer. Let's say it was 5,000 computers. Now they're going to have 2,500, and instead of selling them for $2,000, they're going to sell them for $1,000. So now they're only going to have a quarter of the revenue that they had before, and they were making $500 per computer. Well, now those $1,000 computers are probably making $200. So now you take that and you time to do this. So they're making $500,000 of profit. Now that doesn't count the employees, the building, the insurance. There's a million costs that come with running a business. $500,000 sounds like a lot of money to a lot of people for profit, but it's really not when you start removing all that other money. It's like, oh, now the rent for a building is really expensive, and most of those companies I just named are in California, where rent's really high. So, you probably have to have a 30,000 square foot warehouse, and most of the warehouses are at about $1.50 per square foot. So they're paying this per month. So that $500,000, take that off right away, and then all the insurance and that, that can get down. All the employees, that can get down to zero pretty quickly. That could go down to negative pretty easily too. So I'm just bringing that up. The state of the industry is tough right now, and Artesian builds, they could have contributed to making the industry worse. But if they would have stuck around, their business, let's just say they didn't have any drama type stuff, they probably would have had a hard time maintaining that same style, that they had before. So I just thought it was interesting for anyone that, I think it's interesting, so I'm hoping other people might think it's interesting to hear about that. And then final few things. These are a lot quicker to talk about. Would I do this whole thing again? If I could go back in time and bid on this auction again, would I still bid the same? Yeah, I would do it again. If I would have, getting COVID was probably the worst part of the whole thing. So, if I could have avoided getting COVID, that would have been great. Everything else, also the Oakland whole thing with Oakland was difficult. If I could do that again, maybe I would have hired a company to move everything for me. But there's always risks involved with having someone else do the work for you. So, things go missing, stuff happens. So I'm happy with how it all worked out. And finally, giveaway PC. We've been talking about doing a giveaway PC for I think it's 6 months since we moved to our new warehouse. We've been wanting to do one for a long time. We've been wanting to build up our social media and do more custom builds and start our own PC brand. And we've been making progress on all of those things, but there were little things that were kind of holding us back. So I brought up electricity earlier with that laser printer. We finally have electricity to our LAN center here at our office. And now that we have the electricity to the LAN center, we can finish all of our PC build videos. And when all the PC videos are done, we're doing a giveaway PC with that. So I'm hoping that within the next month that all of those videos will be done. Our channel is going to go from a video a month or less to every day there's going to be a video. The videos should be, in my opinion, really awesome if you like PC builds. They're all going to be rare PCs and unique PCs and theme PCs. And the giveaway PC is going to be free to enter. It's not going to be. Eventually, I'd like to move to that model where we have some merch that we sell, and you get entries with the merch. That's a really popular thing for companies to do. But at the moment, this giveaway is going to kind of just be more of a celebration of the 1-year anniversary of Artesian Builds, and a celebration that it went successfully and we're on the other side of it, and that we're trying to move forward with starting our own brand of PCs and grow our social media presence. So our plan for the PC company that we're going to start, we want to call it Fast AF PCs, and that's the current plan. We're working with a logo designer and stuff like that, so that I'm looking forward to that. And then we would be able to start selling some PCs on Amazon as well once we have our own brand. So that wraps it up, guys. It's probably a long video. I don't know if there's a ticker right now that says 43 minutes. Holy crap. Sorry for the long video. I hope you guys appreciated the time I put into it and the information, and we'll have a lot more videos that will be popping up with those build videos I just talked about. See you in the next one. Bye.